Welcome to our deep dives today. We are going to be exploring a question that has intrigued thinkers for centuries.
Wow.
What or who is God? And why do faith and belief matter uh, as we search for meaning and purpose in our lives?
It's fascinating to consider that even today, this question is still as relevant as ever. Even with the advancements in science and technology, we still come back to this fundamental question.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does speak to, I think, a deep-seated human need
Yes.
to understand, like, our place in the universe, to find something greater than ourselves, to believe in.
Absolutely. And one of the sources that we're going to be taking a look at today, The Secret, What Great Leaders Know and Do, it really digs into this idea of purpose in the context of leadership.
Okay.
And there's this SERVI acronym that it talks about, where a leader's responsibility is to envision a better future and to empower others to achieve it.
That's a powerful concept. But how does that actually translate into action? I mean, it's one thing to have a vision, but how do you actually make it a reality? Especially when faced with like obstacles and setbacks.
Well, the book uses a really interesting example to illustrate this point. The case of Sears.
Okay.
Now, most people think of Sears as a company that has struggled in the retail industry.
Right.
But what a lot of people don't realize is that their financial services arm actually thrived even as the retail side faltered.
Really? That's interesting. How did that happen?
Exactly. And this kind of connects to a broader point that was made in one of the blog posts we're looking at, which is it poses this really thought-provoking question. When life gives you pain and suffering, will you just suffer? Or will you find a way to grow and use it to find a way to serve others?
That's a question that really resonates with me. It suggests that even our struggles, our pain, can be a catalyst for growth and for finding a deeper sense of purpose.
Precisely. And that brings us to this idea of the power of belief, which is something that we see over and over in the sources that we're going to be looking at today. One of the articles we're looking at today, it talks about how our focus and the meaning that we assign to events really shapes our experiences and emotions.
So you're saying that our beliefs actually have the power to create our reality.
In a way, yes. If we choose to focus on the negative, if we choose to focus on our hardships, that's what is going to dominate our experience. But if we choose to see challenges as opportunities for growth, to find meaning in our struggles, then that's the reality that we create for ourselves.
That makes me think of the Viktor Frankl quote. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom.
Exactly. Frankl really understood this principle. And, he went through the horrors of the Holocaust. Even in the most dire circumstances, we still have that power to choose our response. And in that choice lies our freedom and our ability to grow.
So how does this tie back to the idea of God and faith?
Well, one way to think about it is that faith can be a source of strength and resilience, especially in the face of challenges. It can provide a framework for understanding our experiences, for finding meaning, even in the midst of suffering.
So it's not necessarily about believing in a specific deity or even a set of doctrines, but more about having faith in something greater than ourselves. A belief that there's a purpose to our lives, even when we can't fully grasp it.
Yes, and that faith can be a really powerful motivator. It can inspire us to act, to serve others, to make a positive impact on the world.
One of the sources actually talked about this concept of bootstrapping, but not in the traditional sense.
Okay.
It emphasizes that it's not about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps alone, but about using whatever resources you have, including other people, to improve your situation.
I love how you brought that up because one of the sources had a great example of that. It talks about how there was a Wharton professor who allowed his students to consult with each other on one test question. And guess what? The students who collaborated ended up performing better than those who didn't.
That's a great example of believing in our ability to learn and grow and leveraging the support of others to achieve better outcomes. But what about doubt? Isn't doubt often seen as the opposite of faith?
That's a great question. Interestingly, one of the sources actually suggests that even doubt can be a really powerful motivator. Like if somebody you don't respect doubts you, doesn't that just fuel your fire to prove them wrong?
That's so relatable. I've definitely experienced that myself. Sometimes proving those naysayers wrong can be incredibly motivating.
Exactly. And it's not just about external validation. It can also help you build your self-confidence.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
As one of the sources put it, when people help others build confidence, they build their own confidence as well. And they also help a person find their own motivation.
So it seems like helping others can be a win-win situation.
Yeah.
It benefits them and also contributes to our own growth and self-confidence.
Precisely. And this interconnectedness, This idea that we thrive when we support and uplift each other is a theme that runs through many of the sources that we're looking at today. It's almost as if we're all part of this intricate web of relationships, and our actions have a ripple effect on the entire system. And this brings us to, I think, another really fascinating aspect of this.
Okay.
How does this interconnectedness relate to the question of God?
It's interesting you bring that up because one of the sources actually poses the question, is God punishing me or is God challenging me? Is this problem a gift from God to make me grow?
Wow. That's a really profound question. It challenges us to reframe how we think about hardship, to see it not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for growth.
It reminds me of like mandalas, focusing on the intricate details of a mandala during meditation can help individuals achieve a state of inner calm, concentration, and spiritual insight. Maybe it's about finding those mandala moments within the chaos of life. Those moments where we can kind of shift our perspective and find a deeper meaning.
I love that analogy. It's about finding that stillness within, that space where we can connect with something greater than ourselves, whether you call that God or something else entirely.
But one of the sources seemed to challenge the idea of passively hoping for a specific outcome. It said to hope for a given outcome is to place your faith in something outside yourself and outside the current moment. You are surrendering your power to the very forces you were supposed to be fighting.
Yeah. That's a really powerful statement. It seems to be suggesting that true faith is not about blind hope or wishful thinking, but about taking action, about using our own agency to create the change we want to see in the world.
So it's about aligning our actions with our beliefs, about walking the walk, so to speak.
Exactly. And it reminds me of another quote. Persistence is undervalued. Keep going for longer than you believe you should, as most successes take longer than people anticipate.
Okay.
So it's not just about believing, it's about persevering, about staying committed to our goals, even when faced with obstacles and setbacks.
It's about having that unwavering belief in ourselves and in our ability to achieve what we set out to do.
Precisely. And that unwavering belief can be a source of incredible strength, especially when we're navigating the complexities of life and death, which is something that several of the sources touch upon.
Yeah. One of the sources had a really thought-provoking quote. It said, "Death be not proud. Death is only a portal to eternal life." It presented death not as an ending, but as a transition, like a doorway to something beyond our current understanding.
It is interesting how different cultures and different belief systems approach death in different ways. Some see it as a finality, others see it as a continuation or a transformation.
The source material also suggests that grief can be lessened through preparation and a strong belief in the continuity of life.
That resonates with me. I think the way we approach death, both our own mortality and the loss of loved ones, is really influenced by what we believe happens afterward.
It's like even though that physical presence is gone, the essence of that person, their spirit, their impact on the world, it continues in some form.
And the sources emphasize the importance of human connection, of sharing memories and stories as a way to heal and to find solace in loss.
That's like a reminder that even in death, we are not alone.
Yeah.
Our connections with others, they kind of transcend those physical boundaries.
And this kind of leads us to this concept of legacy, not in terms of like material possessions,
Right.
but as the positive impact we have on others and on the world.
It's like saying that our true legacy isn't measured in wealth or possessions, but in the lives we touch, the kindness we share, the positive change that we contribute to.
And that brings us back to this power of belief. If we believe in something greater than ourselves, in a purpose beyond just our individual existence, it can really shape how we live our lives and how we face the inevitability of death.
It's like having a compass,
Yeah.
a guiding principle
Yeah.
that helps us to navigate the complexities of life
Yeah.
and find meaning in the face of the unknown.
And speaking of compasses, I'm reminded of the Serve You acronym we discussed earlier.
Right.
One of the sources highlighted the importance of setting a really compelling vision for the future.
It's a reminder that leadership isn't just about the present moment, but it's about shaping a better tomorrow,
Yeah.
about inspiring others to work towards a common goal.
Exactly. It's about taking the time to envision that future that we want to create and then actually working to make that vision a reality.
And envisioning the future isn't just for leaders, is it? It's something that we can all do in our own lives. Thinking about our goals and our aspirations, the kind of impact we want to have on the world.
Absolutely. And it's about believing in our ability to make those things happen, even when they seem really daunting.
Which brings us back to the importance of persistence. One of the sources really emphasized the importance of duration. Keep going even when things get tough. Don't give up on your dreams just because they take time to achieve.
Yeah, it's a reminder that success often takes longer than we anticipate, and that perseverance is really a key ingredient in achieving our goals.
And it's about having faith, not just in a divine plan, but in ourselves,
Mm.
you know, in our ability to learn and grow and adapt and overcome challenges.
This connects really well with the concept of mental wholeness that one of our sources explored.
I was hoping we would get to that.
Mm.
Can you elaborate a bit more on what mental wholeness means?
Absolutely. Mental wholeness is about having that inner strength and resilience,
Mm.
to navigate the ups and downs of life, to deal with difficult emotions, and to come out stronger on the other side.
Mm.
It's about recognizing that we are not our emotions, we're observers of them, and that we have the power to choose how we respond.
It sounds like it's about cultivating a sense of inner peace and stability,
Yeah.
even amidst the chaos of life.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
It's about mastering our inner world so that we can more effectively engage with the outer world.
And it's a journey that requires self-awareness, compassion, and a willingness to kind of embrace that full spectrum of the human experience, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Speaking of the human experience, one of the sources talked about the power of art, especially poetry, to connect us to our emotions and to help us make sense of the world.
Yeah, there's something about art that can bypass our rational minds and
Well,
speak directly to our hearts.
there was a quote that really stood out to me. It said, "Genuine poetry can communicate before it is understood," suggesting that art has this way of touching us on a much deeper level, even if we can't fully articulate why.
It's like art can help us process emotions and experiences that we might not have the words for. It can be a safe space to explore difficult feelings, to find comfort, to gain new perspectives.
It seems like we keep coming back to this idea that what we choose to focus on really influences our experiences. Our beliefs really do shape our reality.
It is a powerful reminder that we have more agency than we think sometimes, that we have the power to choose our beliefs, our focus, our actions, and to create a life filled with meaning, purpose, and service to others. But what about things we can't control? The unexpected things that life throws our way, the pain and suffering.
Yeah, that's where faith can be so important, not as a way to avoid pain, but as a way to kind of find the strength to endure it, to find meaning in the midst of the chaos, to remember that we are not alone, even in those darkest moments.
So it's about finding that inner compass, that guiding principle that helps us to navigate those challenges and to make choices that align with our deepest values.
Yes, and recognizing that we're not in this alone, Our actions affect those around us. We're all interconnected.
Right. That makes me think about what we were discussing earlier about legacy. It's not about what we accumulate, but it's about the positive impact that we have on others.
And it's about believing that our lives have meaning, even if we can't always see the full picture.
One of the sources also highlighted the potential of sound therapy to treat both physical and mental pain. It discussed how certain sound frequencies can actually stimulate the body's natural production of nitric oxide, which is essential for cardiovascular health and cell vitality.
It's fascinating how something as simple as sound can have such a profound effect on both our physical and emotional well-being. Really speaks to the interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, it's like everything has a vibration, a frequency. And when those frequencies align, something magical happens.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's another way to think about faith and belief. Aligning our own inner frequencies with something greater than ourselves, with a purpose that resonates deep within our souls.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to put it. It really speaks to the power of intention and cultivating that sense of harmony within ourselves and with the world around us.
This has been a really incredible deep dive. We've explored so many profound ideas about faith, belief, purpose, and how it's all connected. But I'm left with one final question. What's the takeaway? What's the one thing I should hold on to as I go back out into the world?
That is a wonderful question to end on. If I had to distill it down to one sentence, I would say, believe in your power to create a life filled with purpose, service, and love.
I love that. It's simple, yet so profound. It's a reminder that we are not passive bystanders in our own lives, but we are active creators of our own reality. It's a call to action. It's an invitation to step into our greatness and make a positive impact.
Absolutely.
It's been an honor to explore these ideas with you. I know our listeners will find this deep dive thought-provoking and inspiring.
And I hope it sparks a fire in them to believe in their own power, to create a life filled with meaning and purpose.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep seeking those golden nuggets of knowledge that enrich your life and empower you to make a difference in the world.
And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that step today and believe in the power of your own transformation.